So we're going to move on to our next speaker. I want to invite Ty up here. So remember, Ty came here from Canada, so let's give him a warm USA welcome. Come on up, Ty. So Ty's from Unbounce, awesome landing page platform. If anyone in here works with us, you've probably heard us talk about it so many different times. We're huge believers into his platform. Really helps you guys crack out landing pages super quick, customize them, and Ty's going to kind of take you guys through the landing page journey, right? Awesome.
Hey, right on.
Let's remember to get that selfie when we're done.
Okay,
Cool.
well,
Thanks.
how's everyone doing? Are we excited to talk about landing pages? All right, let me just get this set up here. So as Pete mentioned, I came from Vancouver yesterday, and my sister actually lives in Brooklyn, so I've never been over to New Jersey, but man, it is beautiful over here. I went to Red Bank yesterday because I was too cheap to take a cab all the way to my hotel, so I took the train to Red Bank. That took me a while, and then I walked around Red Bank, and it was amazing. So I'm just going to get my laptop fired up here. All right. So Pete, Semgeeks, thank you very much for having me. We started talking about this conference a year ago, so it's nice to finally get here and be here with you. And so I'm the BD guy, and I was like, Pete, are you sure you want me to speak? Because I got a lot of other great speakers. But he's like, no, man, we want you. So I'm stoked that he wanted me, and here I am. So my name's Ty, and I lead partnerships at Unbounce. And so for those of you who don't know what Unbounce is we're a conversion platform for marketers. So we enable you to build and test custom landing pages, pop-ups, and sticky bars to increase conversions and turn around campaigns more quickly. So, but in my day-to-day job, I'm tasked with kind of unlocking one-to-many relationships with partners that open up new audiences for Unbounce and really create more shared value for this marketing tech ecosystem. But today, I'm here to talk to you about getting more conversions. Any Westworld fans in the house? Yeah, all right. So I'm a big fan of this show. I'm still trying to figure out the end of season 2 and what the hell all the Bernards are all doing at the same time. But anyways, I love the show because it challenges our assumptions about human behavior. And actually it shows us that we're quite predictable. And landing pages aren't that different. People act predictably on them if you take care of the fundamentals. So I'm here to talk to you today about the fundamentals and make sure that by the end of the the presentation, that you have a checklist to create high converting landing pages. So let's start by making some assumptions. So one, the first assumption is you're marketers. And the second assumption is that you are running campaigns and you're trying to continually hit those targets. And then you have a sales team who's trying to hit their targets, so they're demanding that they get more leads from you. And then you have your boss, this is my friend Ryan here, and of course he's drinking a glass of wine on Friday at 3, and he's telling you, Ty, you have the same budget, month after month, the same budget. And then you got to do all this stuff. And so, sorry for the text mixing the boxes here, but essentially what he's saying is you need a better return on investment for your campaigns. But as a marketer, you're thinking, well, that's not how things work. One does not simply get better ROI. It's kind of like, what is this? Is a perfect world? And in this perfect world, you'd have a ton of campaigns on the go, you'd be reducing your marketing spend, and you'd be nailing your targets. But we know, rarely is it a perfect world. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust my mic here. So rarely is a perfect world. Sometimes you go to an adult amusement park and Dolores starts to remember things and everyone's on the ground, So it's not a perfect world. But we can reduce anxiety and keep things simple when it comes to ROI because ultimately, it's really just getting more people to say yes. Or put another way, you need to increase conversion. But how do we do that? So anytime you're asking for something, whether it's paid ads or consultations, or you're trying to get somebody to download an ebook or a white paper, or get them to attend your webinar, or you're trying to get them to hit that click to call button, anytime you ask prospects to do something, you want as many of them as possible to say yes. The problem is most marketers send this traffic to their website. And every time someone sends traffic to their website, especially if it's through paid media, I die a little inside. So let's think of your website as brand central station. No one got that? Okay. When I put this together in Vancouver, I thought that was pretty slick. But anyways, Tina thinks it's funny. So when we're talking about brand central station, and that's your website. So the whole point of your website is to be an information hub. It's optimized for organic lead flows and funnels with a ton of information. But remember, as a marketer, and you're running a campaign, you want to get as many people to say yes as possible. So if we think of this as getting on a single train at Grand Central, that's pretty confusing. So when we add lots of traffic and we add a lot of places to go, that's a lot of distraction, right? It's confusing for people. So let's look at an example. So this is the entire website for a product called Jira. It's a software development tool if you're unaware of it. But here's the entire website. And we're looking at it from right above the fold down to the footer. But if we move in and, if we move in and look at the above the fold piece, we start to examine all of the places that traffic can go on this website. It starts to get a little distracting. You can see there's a ton of links and exit points as opposed to a marketer trying to get a single yes. So what we have here are a lot of stars, and each one of those stars represents a distraction, a place that someone can go on the website other than where we probably want them to go. And so we call this at Unbounce an attention ratio. So on this page, the attention ratio is actually 130 to 1. So that's 130 things somebody could do versus the one thing you probably want them to do. So again, attention ratio, the number of things a prospect can do on a given page to the number of things you want them to do. And when you're running a marketing campaign, the attention ratio should be as close as 1-to-1 as possible. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So let's go back to this example with Jira and above the fold. So for their homepage, this is great. But if you're running paid ads and your goal is to get someone to start a free trial, this is a waste of money because there's so many distractions, 130 of them to be exact. So instead, if you'd created a landing page, what would that look like? So we go back, we go forward, we go back, we go forward. It's pretty simple. All we did was we removed all of that distraction and just got to the point. And really what Jira's wanting here is they want you to hit that button to try it for free. So when you're running a marketing campaign, this is really, really essential. To have this, of course, this 1-to-1 attention ratio. Let's look at another example. Boom. This is, oh no, I had an image here of the Semgeeks digital marketing conference. Anyways, Pete and them, they did a really good job because, of course, above the fold, there's one call to action on it, and it was just to get someone to buy a ticket. So well done, Semgeeks. You can't see it, but this is the updated presentation here. So at Unbounce, we test this all the time. And so let's look at an example. So on the screen here, we have the ultimate guide to landing page optimization. And we run A/B tests all the time. So we continually optimize landing pages to increase conversion and figure out which variant performs the best for the traffic that's coming to it. And when we do that, we then choose that variant because, of course, we're now getting higher conversions. So to test this hypothesis of attention ratio, we ran a test. So variant A here is on the left. Really what we wanted you to do is to enter your email address to get the free guide. But for this variant, what we did is we added a whole bunch of links on the bottom. So we upped the attention ratio. We ran it against a variant B, which again was trying to do the same thing, which was just to get somebody to enter their email address. But in this case, we had none of the distractions below. So variant A on the left with an attention ratio of 10 to 1, and a variant B on the right with an attention ratio of 1 to 1. And so when we ran this test, it was pretty simple to see that variant B had a 31% better conversion ratio over variant A. And so we ran this at a 95% confidence rating, meaning if you ran this experiment 100 times, you would get the same result. So it's not by chance. So when attention ratio goes down, conversion rates go up. That's pretty simple, and that's a quote from Ollie Gardner, who's actually a real speaker from Unbounce. He tours the world talking about this stuff. So if your goal is lead gen or click-through on a paid advertising campaign, stop sending that traffic to your homepage. It's literally a waste of money. So at Unbounce, we've developed an easy acronym to help you remember this. Nasam Qualpt. Ollie made this up, and we're always like, dude, you're strange, man. But anyways, we've all remembered this, and it's never start a marketing campaign without a dedicated landing page. But you're not Kevin Costner. You just can't build a landing page and expect them to convert. We know that we need to look at attention ratio, but what else do we need to look at? So every successful landing page has 5 critical elements, and they are, so whether it's lead gen or click-through, there's these 5 essential elements, and they are your USP, your hero shot, your benefits, your social proof, and your call to action, and we're just going to go through those right now. So the first one's your unique selling proposition. And your USP has 4 bits. There's your main headline, there's a supporting headline or sub-headline, there's a reinforcing statement, and there's a closing argument. So today we're just going to talk about the headline and the sub-headline. So let's look at the headline. So this is an unnamed email provider who on the left here has their headline, and it's, we make it easy to grow your business. And so we ran a 5-second test, which asks somebody simply, what does this product do? And we give them 5 seconds to answer that question. When we did that for this headline, only 6% were able to correctly answer what exactly this business did. Now, to test it, what we did was we flipped the subheadline to the headline, which now says, it's easier than you think to create professional emails that keep your customers coming back. And when we did the simple flip, 20% were now able to correctly answer, what does this product do? So it's imperative that the audience understands what it is you or your service does immediately. So if people can't determine the purpose of your page from the main headline and the subheadline, you're doing something wrong. So an easy exercise is try reading them aloud to someone and ask them what the page is about. They should be able to immediately tell you the page's purpose. Hero shot. So your hero shot should show your product or service in context. So is everyone familiar with the Snuggie? Of course. This is a good example of a hero shot in context because you have the couple, they're relaxing, they're wearing this 3-hold blanket on a couch, and it's great context. You understand what the Snuggie is, when you should use it, you know, it gives a good setting here. Whereas if I just showed you this image, which a lot of landing pages do, they just throw up an image without any use of context, it's not as helpful. Who knows what this is? Slap chop, all right, slap chop. So of course, there's Vince, he's slapping all your worries away. and it's quite memorable. And the image of the slap chop is being used in action. And of course, this is a much better way to use your hero shot, because it's going to lead to a higher likelihood of conversion when somebody can see what the hell it does. So let's reiterate, your hero shot should show your product or service in context, and it can produce the aha that triggers a conversion. So the next or third critical element of a landing page is your features and benefits. So your benefits should speak directly to the pain your prospects feel in their job to be done. And at Unbounce, we're always saying, you shouldn't be selling vitamins, you should be selling painkillers. So let's look at an example. This is Zoho. This is a CRM, and they're speaking to a sales team in this case. And in this case, the sales team is probably not getting enough leads. They have little visibility into their pipeline, and their sales cycles are probably taking quite a long time. So Zoho says in their headline, get more leads, track your pipeline, and close more deal faster, speaking directly to those pain points. This is a bit further down the page with the same landing page for Zoho. And here below you can see software works the way that you do. So obviously sales teams are experiencing pains with their current software that's not quite aligned with their workflows. And then they get into, of course, percentages above that speak to the pains that we saw previously. So the next slide, the sales team's probably up against a lot of time constraints. So they highlight automate tasks and save more time. And they also know that sales teams have customers that are trying to reach them through a variety of channels. So the next headline below says, meet your customers no matter the medium, to speak to that pain point. And finally, sales teams, obviously, they deal a lot with siloed information. So Zoho then speaks to the top headline there, which is know your business inside and out, speaking to its ability to aggregate a lot of data points in one place, being the CRM. And below they say integrate with your favorite products. So these sales teams obviously use a lot of products for that information that's contributing to those silos. And this Zoho CRM is going to help them streamline those processes, and they tell you that. So a good reminder is to ask yourself, what problem am I solving for my prospects? So the fourth critical element is your social proof. So let's play a little game here, and the game is, would you rather? So would you rather eat at this fully staffed, empty restaurant on a tourist strip, or would you rather eat at this restaurant where clearly they're doing something right? You might be adventurous or like your space, but people usually take social cues, hence the lineup here at this restaurant. So your social proof builds trust and helps persuade through herd mentality. And this is Zapier. And Zapier knows this, and they know that companies large and small are looking at their application to help automate their workflows. So they demonstrate that BuzzFeed, Envision, Spotify, Adobe, and Fox trust them to help their teams automate workflows. We'll look at another example, and this is Intercom. This is a customer communication tool. And in this case, they're speaking to technology companies like Wistia, Yahoo, Typeform, and all of them trust Intercom, and they're displaying this. So really what we're saying is, I want to be like them, or I'm like those people, so this product must be for me too. So people love having decisions made for them, and you should leverage social proof to make the decision to convert easier. So our final critical element of a landing page is your call to action. So on landing pages, the call to action represents the tipping point between bounce and conversion. So we've worked through all of these other 4 critical elements, and we're getting to this point, this moment of truth. And hopefully you've done your job right, but there it is. There's the call to action. There's the tipping point where you're either going to get that yes or someone's going to bounce. So your landing page should have one conversion goal. And so whether it's click-through, it's lead gen, it's click-to-call, remember that your landing page should have that one conversion goal. So let's look at an example of a company that everyone's familiar with, and this is Salesforce. So it's important to remember that the call to action consists of 2 elements, the button design and the button copy. And so we're saying, basically, where do you want me to go? And why should I go there? And so when we think about the call to action, a lot of times you'll see this word submit. Has everyone seen submit? That happens, I think that was developed by a Microsoft engineer in the 80s. Nobody wants to submit. Nobody wants to submit. They just don't use it. We tested at Unbounce like all the time, and submit never wins against any variant we test. So get away from using the word submit. The better way to think about it is to complete the sentence, I want to, and that should be the call to action on your button. So let's go back to this example, which I left pretty quickly, but let's go back and look at it. So Salesforce here, what do they want you to do? It says, watch it in action. Clearly you want to get a demo, so I'd like to, or what do you want me to do? And it's simple, it's watch it in action. So if you think about that way for designing copy for your call to action buttons, I think you'll do quite well. So the 5 critical elements, again, are your USP, your hero shot, your benefits, your proof, and your call to action. And if you remember all of these critical elements in all of the landing pages you design for your marketing campaigns, you're going to get more yeses, you're going to increase conversion rate, and you're going to look like a superhero. So thank you very much, guys. That's the presentation. And of course, Pete, no problem. So we have
Microphones on both sides running down.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Awesome. We have a ton of time here, so I would love to open the floor up to any and all questions that you might have. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very valuable.
Okay.
One of the things that we do a lot with landing pages in our organization, and we do spend a lot of time on generating leads, but also making sure that they are qualified leads. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the different. There are some people who say get as many leads as you can, and then there are some people who say make your form longer so that you can get qualified leads or more qualified leads. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so it's the old quality versus quantity debate. The way I look at it, and I'll give you an example for Unbounce, is we are concerned a lot with churn. So yes, it's all about new customer acquisition, but I'm sure people here are familiar with a leaky bucket. If we have a leaky bucket and our conversion paths aren't set, then we are going to have customers who may come in the top of the funnel for a new trial start, but 60 days later, they're gone. So for us, it's quality over quantity, and it's very complex as to how you arrive at that. But it all starts with your marketing, and for Unbounce, we were kind of born out of the HubSpot model, which is inbound marketing. So the job really is never to sell, it's to be as helpful as possible, which if you do it right, leads to a sale at the bottom of the funnel. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but we're focused on that quantity. And so we're very methodical about our funnel, right from the top to the very bottom. So we have a whole bunch of content that is intended for people at the top of the funnel who may not know anything about landing pages, who we are, what we do, through to discovery, through to evaluation, right through to booking a demo. So I think it's all about what you're after, because you can go out and get a ton of traffic. Like, you can use Christina's company, Google, and you can just pay them a whack of money and fill the top of the funnel all day long. But like I showed in the slide before, your ROI is just going to be miserable. So does that help a little bit? Yeah. Form length. Okay. Yeah. It depends. I mean, if the user intent is high, like let's say if you're running traffic and you nail the keywords and the message matches there, you're taking it in the right place, you hit those critical elements on the landing page and your copy's tight above the fold, and I'm looking for it, I'm gonna give you my email address and you're gonna get that lead. But if it's a more complex product and your goal is to take someone from the top right through to the bottom, and the best place to do that is a landing page, and you need to develop a story and you need to keep pushing people further and further and further down the funnel, and you're a wicked copywriter, yeah, use a long form landing page. Like, everyone's been on a page where you know you're gonna get sold something at the bottom, right? But some of you just click, you're rolling, like, yeah, I know, I'll just give you what I want at the bottom. But those can be effective. Everyone's read good copy that pushes you from completely being like, I have no idea kind of what I'm getting into, right to like, where do I sign up? So I wouldn't say one use case over another. I just think it all depends on your intention and the type of prospects you're dealing with. I mean, because in a perfect world, the reason that they're arriving at that destination in the first place is because they want that thing that you're giving your email address to. So remember, when I was saying like the golden rule is you should have one conversion goal. So if you're running a campaign and the lead gen mechanism is the brochure or the guide or whatever it is, that should be the reason they're coming there in the first place. So of course you want to give that to them. Is that helpful? Okay, thank you. Right here in the front. Yeah, just yell. I'm not hard of hearing yet.
Hi, I wanted to know if you had any kind of opinion or experience with a two-step opt-in form versus showing the form and the button right on the same page. So have you seen like more or less success with that? Is that something that you guys extensively
the
A/B test?
Yeah, the double opt-in. Actually, I think in some places the double opt-in's required. So it kind of goes back to this quality versus quantity thing. Like, yes, you probably will get more leads if it's a single opt-in, but when it comes to quality, it's kind of like a second layer of like, yeah, I'm down with you. I'm going to give you my information. So if you're doing it right, I don't think there's any reason why a double opt-in shouldn't work, because if you are giving me something of value or you're being so helpful to me, why wouldn't I take the next step? So for me, the question wouldn't be single opt-in or double opt-in. It would be, what is that offer? What is it of high enough value where that whether I make it a single or a double opt-in, it doesn't matter because someone wants to give you their email or phone number or whatever it is.
Thank you.
All right, I love this. Lots of questions. In the middle. Yeah, for sure. What I would do is I would take those 5 critical elements and tinker around with changing each one of them and see what results you get. So change your hero image, change your headlines, add social proof, take it away, add different companies. So what I would do is I would look at those 5 critical elements I discussed and tinker around with those. To your point about split testing, so A/B testing is an incredibly helpful tool for CRO, which called conversion rate optimization, and there's professionals who specialize this, and I think Semgeeks might actually offer this service. But I'm going to, in the future, as we look to automation, AI, and machine learning, you'll be seeing some cool things from Unbounce in that there might be a point where you don't even have to A/B test, where we are going to be able to allocate traffic to variants, knowing what the user intent is based on what they're searching, and direct them to the highest performing page you have. So nobody's allowed to leave this room and tell anyone that we're doing this, but we are going to be doing this, and it's going to be one of our biggest feature releases that we've ever done at Unbounce. Front row here. Sorry? Regarding? Oh, okay. Yeah. Hopefully a landing page. I mean, you can make the URL whatever you'd like. With Unbounce, we have the ability to, these can be pages within your website. So it would be www.yourwebsite/ whatever it is. So remember, landing pages are to be used for marketing campaigns. They're not a substitute for your website. So you have your website, and then if you were trying to run marketing campaigns specific to something about your product or service, you'd be sending them to landing pages, which of course you can customize to include your URL. Oh, so you're talking about the traffic. So when it comes to Unbounce, when you talk about code, it would be on the landing page. So we'd be able to tell where that traffic is coming from and then allocate that traffic accordingly to the best variant of your landing page. Yes, exactly. Yeah. The woman behind, that's there? Slap chop, yeah. That was a video. Okay. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of video, which allows people to have even more context. So yeah, that was a video.
And is there a rule of thumb for length of the video when you use it as a hero shot?
Yeah, I would say it should be 30 seconds or less, definitely. That's just kind of the tipping point that when we do our research between bounce and conversion, right about 30 seconds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gentleman right here. Okay, so I'll answer the first question, and that's more just like a product-related question. So Unbounce is a software as a service. People pay us monthly, and it ranges from $79 a month on an annual plan, and that has a certain amount of landing pages you're allowed to publish, right up to $4.99 on a monthly plan for an enterprise client that has all the landing pages you could ever want. So it's kind of, the pricing is based on published landing pages, as well as the amount of traffic that goes to those landing pages, as well as the amount of sub-accounts that you can use within an account. So for example, Pete and the guys at Semgeeks, they may or may not, I'm not sure, but if they're a big agency, they'll probably have an enterprise account, and then they'll have multiple people on their team using the product, and also have tons and tons of clients. So we have client sub-accounts. So that's at the high end of an enterprise level, right down to $79 a month for a solopreneur. And the second question you had was regarding conversion rates. So what is an optimal conversion rate? So that's a really good question. It gets asked all the time. So what we did was, we have a report, it's called the conversion conversion benchmark report. And I'm happy to share with anybody here. I'll be around all day and I'll give you my business card and I can send you a copy of this report. So as we talk about data, as you can imagine, Unbounce is monitoring hundreds of thousands, if not millions of landing pages every year from industries ranging from education, real estate, insurance, vocational, etc. So we have a lot of data by industry on what the best conversion rates are and why good people are getting higher conversion rates than others. So this benchmark report will show you by industry what the benchmark standard of a conversion rate is, and then show all of the factors that can help you either beat that conversion benchmark, or if you're not beating it, you'll know you're below the mean. So does that answer your question? Okay, for sure, yeah, because it actually varies quite a lot. I mean, I believe it's insurance. For some reason, the insurance people are doing it very, very well. I would guess it's because insurance, there's a lot of, the user intent is there, but insurance converts quite high. I think it's in the high teens, right down to something a bit lower, which would be in education, I believe. But the report is amazing. It's been downloaded tens of thousands of times, and it's really, really helpful for people. I think we do have lots of time, so let's just keep answering questions. In the front here.
You mentioned that you grew out of the HubSpot model.
Yeah.
When we are looking at landing pages, when they lead convert on a landing page, we put them through a lead nurturing process where it's not right away, it's a hard sell. It's following up with them based on information that may pertain to them, based on what landing page they converted on. Do you have any experience on recommendations on how many touch points should that be before maybe you do go in for a hard sell, or ask a question that, that gives you a sense that this person is indeed ready to buy, quote unquote?
Yeah, I would say if you're doing it right, you should know. So if you have if you have a dynamic marketing funnel whereby you're treating different people differently and you're monitoring what they do, you should be able to tell. So for example, for us, we have and HubSpot does this as well, there's a lead scoring system, right? So you know that if someone has gone to your template section, then they've opened an email, they've clicked through, they've gone in, then maybe they've hit the pricing page, they've opened your next email in the sequence and done something else. That lead should be getting scored, and especially it's probably in Salesforce or something like that. So we have it set up whereby once a lead crosses a scoring threshold, we know when to go in for like, hey, we know that you've been doing this, 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 and this. You're probably trying to, like, why not just, let's give you a demo. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, so basically if someone is using Unbounce,
Yeah.
do you provide that lead scoring capability as well?
No. So
Okay.
Unbounce is strictly a landing page builder and also a conversion platform where we give you insights onto exactly what people are converting at and why, and you're able to test. But Unbounce, one of the strengths of it is it converts with various products. So in this case, it would convert with Salesforce, so that when a lead is captured in an Unbounce page and gets piped through to Salesforce, you'd then be able to, of course, track the lead in Salesforce. And we integrate with Marketo, Zoho, like all the leading CRMs to be able to do this. And also we have a script manager. So if you use something like a Hotjar or an analytics tool, you can actually drop a piece of script in on an Unbounce landing page so that you can utilize your analytics tool to get further insights on what people are doing on a landing page.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, let's do 3 more questions. And there's a woman right behind you who's there, and she's raised her hand.
Since you're from Canada, is that based on non-US?
Sorry, say that again?
Canada, is that non-US reporting you have, or US only reporting for your conversion rate?
No, it's worldwide. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. Everyone's getting the same experience with Unbounce. One more? All right. Let's go to the back. There's a gent in the middle with his hat on backwards there.
Hey, so I own a supplement company, and we have a D2C and e-commerce model.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if you would have a uniform or individualized strategy for leveraging conversions for each model.
So, I mean, would I customize my approach, or would I just keep it singular?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've noticed on e-commerce, the way people create their landing pages is way different, but I want to know from, how you would do it.
So, are we talking strictly about e-com?
E-commerce and say my brand's own website. So
Yeah.
Amazon and, for example, I own Olympus Labs, so my website.
Right. Okay. So, when we think about Unbounce, traditionally, Unbounce isn't used heavily in e-commerce, and that's because I used to work in e-commerce. If you're in e-com, you already have a PDP or a PLP. You already have a product display page or a product landing page. So most likely, if you're sending paid traffic to a specific brand item SKU, you're going to send them to a PDP. For Unbounce, we would be used in a situation more about click-through. So like if there was an offer and someone's looking for a brown boot made by Clark's, and somebody typed that into Google and there was a search, there might be a use case where somebody would have a click-through page, so maybe an Unbounce landing page to show more details about the product, warm them up to potentially a sale, and then click them through to where the checkout would be located. Is that answering your question?
Well, I was more or less asking, how you would arrange the landing page, like the product page on the website and the product page on Amazon, where people land through either paid or organic. So, does that make sense?
Sort of. Just because you said if they land on Amazon, like we can't dictate what goes on Amazon. So, just trying to, where's the landing page piece of the question?
Well, if somebody were to search pre-workout on Amazon and they land on your page because your search result is paid or
Yes.
non-paid, I'm asking more about how you present from the front end perspective.
Like, how would I lay out the landing page?
Yeah. Like, would it be different on the website versus Amazon?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm partial and biased. I would use a landing page, and I would use the elements that we showed here to kind of display whatever it is that you're selling. And if it needs to be checked out at another location, I'd probably set some context, either giving more information or if there is an offer on that landing page before the click-through.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have one more question. Was there one more question? Right here in the front?
So when you're designing a landing page, would you try and focus on the design of that page to match the branding on your website? Would you, like, I know you gave 2 examples before. I don't remember the name of the first company, but they had, when you were talking about the attention ratio,
Yep.
the one site, it was the exact same website, but without all the additional information, where like the Salesforce example, it was a very simple landing page with just that information, did not match the brand made web page. How would you go about that? Would you focus the
Yeah.
design one way or the other?
100% you should match. And actually that Salesforce landing page it's completely on brand. So that's one thing that we're really, really good at is the Unbounce tools allows you to customize your landing pages quite heavily, and matching your brand is imperative. As well as something we didn't talk about today is message match. So message match is also really, really important. So if you're running paid advertising, the headline, the subheadline of your advertisement, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, etc., should match exactly to the landing page that they click through. So yes, like being on brand and having that being a cohesive experience, as well as the messaging experience, being seamless is really, really important. Cool. I think we have time for one more. One more? All right. Yeah, ultimately there's one goal though, right? You want them to follow up with you. I think in this particular, have you looked at the statistics as you know, do you convert more with the click to call or do you convert more with the form? Okay. You can definitely take care of that because, you know, if you're using something like Unbounce, you could split test 2 different variants. And if you use something like CallRail or call tracking metrics or some sort of service like this, there's an integration where you can drop that script onto your Unbounce landing page so you can actually see what the leads from your Unbounce landing page are then doing. So that would solve your problem right there, and I can help you speak more to you about that later. But ultimately, if the one goal is to have them communicate with you, I mean, in this case, you could probably put 2, give people the option. Yep. You're welcome.
Ty, we've got just one more.
Okay, one more question, right here.
Thank you for the information because it's really helpful.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to know what your experience has been or a suggestion for having like a chat service on a landing page.
Right.
How effective has that been, if
Yeah.
so?
So conversational marketing, as Drift calls it, I'm a big fan of it. I got our team to start using Drift is a conversational a bot that we use on our website, and I think, and Chris, we were talking about this before. I think the first most important thing to think about is just time to response. So, you know, on average, it takes people, even sales teams, quite a long time to respond to a submission or a request. And with chat, you're starting to have that conversation right away. And people know this. And if we think about how humans are interacting, like our phone is an extension of ourselves. So we're messaging all the time on mobile. And so chat just mimics what we're doing more of anyways. And I think that the time to response thing is huge. And as, you know, machine learning progresses, the ability for these chatbots to get very, very relevant is already happening. So our sales team, like by the time the lead comes in through the chatbot, they've already been qualified. We can already see what they're searching. We can already point them to materials on our website. We can start to help them without even having a physical person manning the chatbot. So I'm a big fan of them. I think that that's going to be the way things move going forward. Okay, cool.
Nice.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.